Want to know the most underrated marketing and sales strategy as a female entrepreneur? Audacity, with just a sprinkle of delusion. I'm Leanne Lopez Mosley, modern-day business mogul, founder of Rich Queen, and the creator and host of the Soft Girl Million Show. Trailblazing isn't just what I do, it's who I am. I grew up across the pond in a small town in England, the middle child, definitely the one who spoke too much and dreamed way too big. I was the little girl with a Hollywood Walk of Fame tile on her pink bathroom wall, so I guess you could say that this was really all part of the plan. I moved to New York at 21 to work in fashion. Think Ugly Betty, but on steroids, realizing very quickly that if I was gonna work this hard, I was sure as hell gonna get paid very well for it. I mean, listen, I'm a Taurus. It's expensive to be me. Somewhere in the middle of corporate America 12 years ago, I met my husband, Justin, still the hottest and coolest man alive. I'm a boy mum, 4 kids with a rich and full life. And I've built a business that creates delusional income without me being at the cost of it. I went all in, walking away from corporate into my coaching business at the end of 2020. And before I even hit anything close to $1 million a month, before the audience, before the proof and the evidence, I was already being coined the trailblazer of the online coaching space. And for good reason. The truth is, I'm no stranger to doing things differently. Whether it be the video content that so many people know me for, the messaging frameworks and the feminine freedom funnels that have shown women how to remove themselves as the cost in their business, it's so clear why my brand grew the way that it did. Because I don't follow trends, I set them. Here's the truth about the female entrepreneur space. There are so many iconic women building these incredible businesses, but still feeling and being the cost at the end of it. And that's exactly what this show is here to change. Soft Girl Millions is not about being soft on the outside and baking sourdough. It's not about the aesthetics or the idea of not working. It's about what happens when a woman stops being soft with everybody else, when she decides to stop being the cost of her own ambition and success. This show is a completely different format, part podcast, part reality TV show. We are traveling the world and bringing to you, straight into your screen, into the lives of iconic women. Not this perfectly polished, curated version that just sounds good on paper, but the real, the raw, the audacious and the vulnerable and everything in between. This show is not just about you watching us, it's actually about you learning how to build a business and a life and a level of wealth that blows your mind while you refuse to be the cost of it. So I invite you to come with me on this journey. This is the Soft Girl Million Show. So today we have Barbara Schreihans joining us. She is your tax coach on Instagram. And I actually just recently discovered her. And the minute I found her, I was like, where have you been my entire life? She is a tax strategist. And one of the things I love the most about her is I think it's so hard as a female entrepreneur to find an actual tax strategist that understands the online space and our diverse online businesses. And I know that it can sometimes feel very archaic and like you're fighting against what you can write off, what you can't write off. And one of the things that I love about Barb is that she not only is so clear and clearly so exceptional at what she does, but she is also so bougie. Like she just gets it from a female entrepreneur perspective. And she's so empowering with the way she talks about money and about wealth, from the way she talks about writing off candles to hair extensions. She's bringing and trailblazing the topic of wealth and financial literacy for women in the female entrepreneur space. And what is more Soft Girl Millions than that? We are so excited to have her on the show, and she really represents everything when I think about what this show is about, to bring more iconic women that are here to put money in the hands of iconic women. And she is just an exceptional human. And I'm so excited for everyone to experience her vivacious energy and her trailblazing essence. So today's episode is going to be so much fun to film with her. It's the first time we're meeting. And I'm so excited because I already feel like I know her. And I'm so excited to bring her to the show. So when you told me that we both have the similarity of the fact that we both started our business 1/1/20, what are the chances that we both launched our online businesses the exact same date, the exact same year, which we didn't even know.
We didn't know.
So I was corporate, but you also came from corporate, but obviously in accounting, like as an accountant. So what was it that shifted you to want to come into the online? Like, how do you go from working for a company in accounting and as a tax accountant to then coming into what you're doing now? And, you know, when we think about how big you've now gotten and how much impact you're now having, like what did that initial shift look like?
I honestly had no idea I would ever be a business owner.
I love that.
And when I had that like light bulb moment, I just knew that I needed to post about it on Instagram.
Did you have your Instagram before? Like, were you someone that posted regularly on Instagram even when you were like not like on it from a social media sales perspective?
Yeah, so before I had your tax coach, I was posting, I had a 100-pound weight loss like story. And so when I was going through that, I posted all of that all the time. I would do like workouts and meals and, what I was eating and all the things. And I just knew that people are inherently nosy.
Yeah.
And so when
That's like the basis of marketing. It's like when you understand
Yes.
that people are just nosy, like you can win at marketing.
People will always be like, no one wants to see that, or I'm talking too much about it. And I'm like, no, people love it. Like they eat it up. And so when I started your tax coach, I just was like, well, I'll just show the behind the scenes from the very beginning on Instagram. And at that time, there were no accountants online. Like none.
And I feel like what I love about the online space is like I just found you. I like stumbled across you and I immediately was like, oh my God, we have to have her on the show. And I didn't even know you existed. And I feel like so much of what's put out in the online female online space is like it's all very traditional tax strategy or very bro-y. There's no like real, I didn't realize that there was any real like feminine trailblazing women that were actually talking about money and tax and wealth in a way that actually is really feminine. And like I love because you're super bougie, but you also make very relatable content. Like the way that you even speak about candles or about hair extensions, or you're like Ozempic or your infrared sauna. Like I was watching your content thinking how relatable it is. But now it makes sense if you're talking about the fact that you were sharing your weight loss journey and you already were kind of used to doing much more relatable, like nosy style content. And it kind of translates really well to what you're doing now. But did you start from a place of, what was the starting point of like that made you even want to go out on your own to begin with?
Yeah, I was working at an accounting firm, and I had been doing taxes already for like 10 years. And I started at Big Four, like the biggest accounting firm in the world. Everyone was like, you made it. Like, you know.
This is it.
Yeah, and I like remember getting off on floor 17 in the Bay Area and being like, it was literally the ding of the elevator and the door opens and I was like, this is what everyone strives for? Like, they're crazy. So I was the first person in my like cohort to leave Big Four, and everyone was like, you're nuts.
You're nuts, right?
And I'm like, no, I actually think you're nuts. Like, if you did your, like, salary times your hours, you're making nothing.
Yeah.
So I was working at, like, smaller and smaller firms to try to find somewhere that actually helped clients and saved them money in taxes, and I just wasn't finding it. And the last firm I worked at, I was supposed to get a bonus, a Christmas bonus in 2019.
How much was it? Because I always think about when I was in corporate getting like 10, 15%
Yes.
felt like such a big deal. And now I'm like, can you imagine? Like, I was so disappointed with like 10, 15%. I'm like, it's so normalized in that environment that you should be like excited and grateful for such a small like win every year.
Yeah, so this particular client I was working for, they wrote a check to the firm for $260,000 because I saved them like $2 million in tax. And so I was supposed to get 10%.
Okay.
So $26,000. And
Which I'm sure was like a big deal.
that would have been the biggest amount of money I've ever received. And my student loans at that time were $22,000. So I was like, these are finally going to pay off my student loans. Yeah. And on Christmas Day, I get an email from the partner at that firm that just said, we got the largest check the firm's ever received. You get to beat that next year. Like, no, thank you.
They just took the bonus off the table and they didn't even.
No. And so my husband, I'm like crying to my husband, and he's like, but what if that was your client? Like, how much would they have paid you? And that was literally like, when people talk about a light bulb moment, I was like, I never once thought of owning my own business. And 1/1/2020, your tax coach was born.
And did you immediately start talking to women? Or
Yeah.
did it change? Oh, you did? You came out the gate.
I think because I'm a girl and like I like girly things.
You're a girl's girl too, yeah.
Yeah. And I would post a lot in my car and like getting ready in the car because I was like a mom and busy, and it's like trying to fit all the things in. And so naturally, yeah, I think more women were attracted to my brand.
And so at what point did things significantly shift for you? So where were you at kind of like from when you started to where you are now? Like you obviously have like a ton of authority, you're very well known. What did that kind of like initial transition period look like? Because I think a lot of women kind of resonate with that feeling of like building something and then wanting to kind of pivot. And you'd built obviously a bit of a following because of your sharing your journey, but it was in a very different topic. And then now going into your own business and social media and leveraging that for were you always your tax coach when you shifted? Is that the
No, it
first
was a brand new Instagram.
Oh, so
I started from zero.
Okay. So you didn't just pivot from what you were doing. You started a brand new one. So was there a particular turning point that like really shifted? Like in terms of like when you went from building to like suddenly feeling like, okay, now I'm like actually known?
Thankfully, COVID was really good for my business. So I had a few clients from the very beginning when I started that were in like the MLM space. And you know, MLMs, like they love sharing each other's resources. So like once I had one that was really high up, I had like their whole downline and their whole like network. But March 2020, obviously COVID happened, and I knew how to get all of the like COVID loans and all the things that would help small businesses. And so I would just post about it like, hey, if you need help and you're a small business owner, like just DM me. And looking back, like I gave away that stuff for like basically free.
Right.
I should have been charging way more, but you know, those businesses were saved, and after COVID, they just all came back around. You know, they were like, thank you for saving my business.
And you built your reputation in that period.
So luckily, like that really helped. And just being consistent on social media, you know, after going viral a few times and getting a ton of clients that way.
I love that. So good.
Okay, so while Bob gets ready, I am going to share a little bit more about Soft Girl Millions and what this show is all about. Now, at the event in November of last year, I shared with everyone more about the 3 levers of Soft Girl Millions. And ultimately, I think there's a big misconception around what Soft Girl Millions really is about. And it's not about baking or sourdough or becoming a Pilates wife. It actually is, ironically, about your most savage season to date. This is about stopping where you're being soft with everywhere else, everyone else, and everywhere else in your life, and instead focusing in on how to be softer toward yourself by removing yourself as the cost in your business. And nowhere are women more of a cost in their business than, generally speaking, in their profitability. We actually don't have an issue in the female entrepreneur space with a lack of sales. We have an issue with businesses not making enough money to sustain beyond 3 years, 5 years. And if you want to be successful in this space, you have to learn how to make money work for you. And there's nothing more empowering for a woman and more expressed in a woman than when she is making a lot of money, yes, but also when she's making a lot of profitability. So who is better to bring in than Barb to come in and talk about money and wealth creation and how to effectively write off as much as you can about your life and in your business, using your business as a way of writing off more of the costs associated with running a business, because it's not cheap to run a business. Like, this costs a lot of money. It costs investment. And we all love to invest in ourselves and in our business, but it shouldn't be at the cost of us and our profit margins. So today, we're going to be talking to Barb all about how to make money work for us, how to remove more cost in our business in our favor to increase our profitability and our profit margins, and ultimately have more fun in our business so that we can do more of this, all while, making more revenue than ever and being more creatively expressed than ever before. So I'm so excited. She's such an icon. I can already tell we're going to have the absolute best conversation ever. And this is going to be so much fun. Mm-hmm. Okay. Perfect.
All the camera go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's gonna
Yeah,
move
Barbara
this
looks
anyway
great.
because
Oh my gosh.
Right
And in the
here?
background.
oh
Look.
good. Yeah, we need to do like camera back.
Yeah, they're going to move. Okay. You have so many fun facts. I feel
I've
like
lived
we're
a million lives.
You have literally lived a million
Yeah.
lives. Okay, so we were bonding in hair and makeup over the Kardashians. Let's talk about this, because one of the things I love about you is that I feel like most tax strategists and accountants and women at your level wouldn't even want to say that they liked the Kardashians, let alone that you find it inspiring.
I'm obsessed with them.
And we bonded over this. So I want to talk about this because I know you talk heavily about why self-made should be your middle name. So what is the thing that you find inspiring about the Kardashians, and how does that connect to how you have been self-made? Because I know where you're at now has the contrast of what it looked like coming up. Like, where did you come up and what did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, my parents were drug addicts. And so I really had no like money mentors growing up, but I did have the Kardashians. Like when I was 14, Keeping Up came out, and it was the first time I saw people that had real money that were doing great things as well. And then just like as I grew up, I also saw them, each of them become successful. And I was like, if they could do it and they're just normal humans living their normal lives, why can't everyone be rich and famous if they want to be?
But I love that you even took that from watching it, because I think so many people would lean on well, they already had money and her dad was a famous lawyer. But I always see it as, to your point, like Kim Kardashian created her brand from a sex tape.
Mhm.
So the contrast of like this to this, and not just one of them has been successful, but the entire family. Like everyone
of them.
thinks that nothing that they do is serious, but every single thing that they do, including their show, is highly strategic and has helped them create gigantic brands, like all of them as a family.
Yeah.
So when you share about your parents both being drug addicts, tell me a little bit more about what that looked like for you coming up, and like, how do you come into, I'm going to be an accountant from that situation?
Yeah. I mean, when I was in college, I got pregnant and my major was marketing.
It was?
It
So we were
was.
the same.
Yeah. But then when I got pregnant, I went to my career counselor and I was like, I'm having a baby. What is the one major where like the day I graduate, I'm going to have a job? And they were like, you have to switch to accounting.
It's quite the contrast.
And I was like, is there anything else?
Now you make so much more sense to me. The fact that your major was in accounting, was in marketing,
Yeah.
and then you went into account. Now everything makes sense. This is why she's so good at social media.
So it came full circle, I suppose. But at first I was like, this sucks. But it's what I had to do. I had my older son spring break junior year, and I went back to school the next week. Don't recommend, but it's what I had to do. I couldn't take a semester off. Like I couldn't afford it. And yeah, the day I graduated, I had a job. So it worked out.
What did it feel like going from marketing to accounting? Because it's like a very different texture of work.
Luckily I still had my marketing friends, but the people in accounting were very different. But I was always good at math, so like it still was fine. But I think I always in the back of my mind was like, I wish I could have made marketing work.
You kind of like miss the creative side of things, which
But now that's like all I do. So it's amazing.
Isn't it funny how you connect the dots, like looking back? And at the time, it's like, I love this story. So everyone is going to look at you, and even me, like I look at you on social media. All of us have experienced you this morning. You have such audacity just in how confident you are, just from an internal perspective. It's not like there's nothing about you that feels inauthentic. You just feel so comfortable in your own skin.
Thank you.
I would love to know more about what does it look like getting to that, because I am sure that you have a story or multiple stories around how you have developed that character trait and who you are today.
A lot of therapy. Yeah, a lot.
Sponsored by therapy.
Plant medicine, all the things. We could go so many different ways. But no, I really had to like grow that. But honestly, I know I talked about the Kardashians already. It was like I saw them being so confident and beautiful and have money and have all the things that I was like, I could feel that way too, even though it wasn't modeled in my household. Like my dad growing up called me fat my entire life. Like I never once heard a compliment to myself, but I was always just like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And so I really just like did it for myself.
I love this. And when you think about money and women, I think there are so many stories for women around money, and even wildly successful women. Like I know for me, my money story has not been perfect. And I think when you talk a lot about wealth, like we share the same love of accelerated depreciation, and real estate investing is my love language because it helps with taxes. But especially in my marriage, my husband has been the one that has been much more fiscally responsible. I have always had the Taurian penchant for spending it like I stole it. That's my love language.
Yeah.
But I think that when I came into my business, and even as I started to earn more and more money in the business, if we hadn't have started investing in real estate, I don't think that I would have learn as quickly to do something with my money to make sure that it compounds. And I think there's a reality around in the online space in particular, and because you see it every day, there is such a lack of financial literacy around like the difference between sales and wealth building, money and wealth building. And obviously for you, switching from marketing to accounting because you were having a baby and then getting into an industry that's very male dominated, what has your money story looked like? Have you always been good with money? Have you always understood how it works, how to use it, how to invest it to help you build more wealth?
Growing up, I saw my parents file bankruptcy like every 7 years because that was the closest amount of time you could like refile bankruptcy. So like that was my financial literacy. I thought someone every 7 years came in and just like magically paid off your debt.
Wow.
So when I was 18, I got credit cards and just maxed them out. And I thought like magically a little leprechaun was going to come by and pay them off until this like interest was just like debilitating. And then college, I didn't have any money saved up for college, nor did my parents. So everything was student loans. And of course, I maxed those out because I didn't know like what repaying them later was really going to look like. And then having a baby my junior year of college, I put daycare on credit cards for that like 2 years because I had to. And so when I graduated, I had 6 figures of debt and getting paid like $55K a year.
And I feel like that's kind of like normal for most people now.
Yeah.
Like the thing that no one tells you about going to school and all of this is like it costs, even running a business, like the investment that it costs.
Yeah. And so once I realized the amount of payments I would have to pay back every single month, I was like, oh, something has to change. And so I really just started learning about investing and making more money. I never was of the mindset of like cutting out lattes. Like I need my lattes.
Like, does not compute.
Yeah. So I was just like, how can I make more money? So I always just kind of had like little side hustles or like which friend could I do taxes for on the side? Because everyone needs a tax return. And then we like Airbnb'd a room in our house. Like it was sketchy, like weird people would stay in our house. But I was like, they're paying half of our mortgage, so it's fine. And that's really how I learned. And I started with investing $5 a week because that's all I had. And now we invest like 6 figures a month.
And one of the things I think is so unusual about you is the way you talk about the tax code I think we like to joke because my husband always acts like you act like you're going to go to prison if you have like done something wrong. But I think all joking aside, like everyone is so afraid of the tax code and taxes. And the biggest fear is this feeling of like, I'm going to do something wrong and I'm going to get into trouble for it. But one of the narratives that you have flipped so powerfully is the idea that the tax code was actually written for you, like it's not against you. It's not trying to punish you, but you need to know how to play the game of the tax code, right? So, and there is a very contrasting view. Like I've not met very many accountants that will tell you the things that you would share on social media around, writing off your hair extensions or Ozempic or any of these things that we see you posting about, which is so powerful. And I would imagine a big part of the reason why you've been so viral and so successful and had so much growth. But what is it about your approach to the tax code that just makes you so different? Like were you observing the way that other people were using it? Like what gave you that kind of feeling around like, how do we learn to use this better to actually amplify money versus like paying more in taxes?
Well, one of my like core values is always a white belt, which to me means like you should always be learning and always act like a beginner. And so like literally in my free time, I read the tax code. Like it's very nerdy, but I read tax law hours and hours a day. And I think that's why I can figure out the loophole. There's not even a loopholes, but like how you can write something off. Whereas a normal accountant hasn't done the research. So their first instinct is you can't write that off. But that's really because they don't know how. And I think if you know that the Internal Revenue Code is 7,000 pages, but only 12 of them tell you the taxes you have to pay. The other 6,988 tell you how to get out of paying those 12 pages. And the politicians wouldn't waste their time writing that if they didn't want you to use it.
Right. And they're the ones that are like hiring.
They're using it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to women in business, what are the biggest mistakes that you see female entrepreneurs make as it comes to money, taxes? Because again, I think in my experience, I've worked with thousands of women and we make a lot of money in the online space. I think what I see is a huge absence of profitability, which is what keeps women in a cycle of like, it's never enoughness and not actually changing their life and their circumstances, because they actually don't, as their revenue increases, their expenses just continue to increase, but not in a way that actually positively impacts on their profitability.
Well, what's interesting is statistics would show women are better investors than men because we're more risk averse than men are. So in the end, we make more money off of our money. The problem is women have a trust issue with themselves. And the non-profitability problem is really just I don't trust myself to hold on to the money because they've never had that amount of money before. And they're okay with making the money, but it's holding the money.
Keeping it.
Yeah.
Growing
that
it.
they have a problem with. So it's really like working on your money mindset of like, I am okay to have this money, to hold this money, to like have a relationship with it and grow with it as well. And that's really where I see the issues. And or they're like, oh, my husband deals with that.
And then passing over the responsibility.
Yeah, and they have no idea their numbers.
Or even to their like financial advisor or even accountant. I think we see that a lot where people are just like blindly accepting the, this person manages that versus actually being really empowered and asking questions.
Yeah.
I think when I first started investing in real estate, I was really prepared to look dumb. I was like, I don't know what that means. Like how are interest rates? Or they'd be like the Fed. I'm like, what is the Fed?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what any of these things mean. Can you explain it? Or even accelerated depreciation is actually very simple. But I think that just like and it's not even like that's the only way to reduce your taxes. Like there are multiple ways that you can do that. But I think that we need more women being willing to like look foolish and asking the questions, because if you're asking it, everybody has the same questions. Now you said around the school system, and I know that you are like I believe you have homeschooled, right? So tell me a little bit about that and your decision to homeschool versus the traditional kind of like school system, because I know I have like certain feelings around what we teach in school versus what we need to be teaching in school.
Yeah. I mean, our older two, I call them like COVID casualties because they were sent home from school during COVID and they chose not to go back, which is great. But then our youngest, he's our extrovert, and so is your youngest, which is funny. But he's our extrovert, so we put him in traditional school for kinder and first grade. and he just wasn't like thriving. And I could feel like the teachers were putting him in this box of like, he's really hyper and he's fidgety in class. And I'm like, well, he's sitting there for 8 hours.
And boys get this all the time. This is
Yeah.
so many boys get misdiagnosed with ADHD because they are boys and they don't want to sit still.
And so we were just like exploring schools, and we happened to run into these neighbors walking our dog, and they were like, we go to this hybrid homeschool where there is a campus. They can go to school, but also if you're traveling, doesn't matter if you're gone. They don't care if they're absent, like as long as you get the binder of work done every month. And what I love about this school is their primary classes are entrepreneurship, financial management, and speech.
Wow.
So like the 3 things we all need in real life.
Yeah.
And then
not Pythagoras theorem.
yeah, like no one needs to know how to square dance. Right? I don't know if you learned that in where you went to school, but in America we learned how to square dance in like 4th grade. But speech would have been so much more applicable.
Yeah. And financial literacy of any kind. Entrepreneurship is such a cool skill. And I feel like when I was in high school, we actually did this like young entrepreneur program, which actually like was part of how I found my love of marketing. Like I actually don't think I've ever told the story before, but I remember doing this like competition in county and I had to remarket spam. And it was like we had to stand on stage and like create these entirely new marketing campaigns. And I just remember thinking like, God, if I can remarket, I won the award, of course. And I was like, if I can remarket spam, like if I can make spam bougie and sexy, then I can make anything sexy. And that was where I really realized, I think I was like 14 years old. And had I not have done that, I'm not sure I would have even made the dots even back then to go and do marketing at university. But entrepreneurship is such a huge thing that, you know, obviously we're modeling it to our kids, but also actually learning more about that is such a powerful skill set because it's going to teach you way more about, you know, I think entrepreneurship is one of the best things that you can do from a personal development journey and a financial literacy journey too.
Yeah. And now our 8-year-old has a business. He was
What
like,
is his business?
He was like, Mom, you know, you have 70,000 photos on your phone. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, we have 3 photos in our house. Like, why aren't you printing them? So I got him a photo printer and a magnet maker. And he goes to all of his sports games and he goes around to the moms and asks them, can I print your photos? And he prints them right there and makes it cute little magnets. And yeah, so that's his little business for now.
What has the biggest lesson been that your kids have taught you?
Oh, patience, for sure. And still working through that.
Yeah.
But also just to like have more fun and like be curious.
Where do you feel like you could still be having more fun and being more curious?
I think in business, for sure. Like I have a lot of freedom in my life, and like I built my life with a lot of like leverage, and I have a lot of help, and but to still just have more fun. Like we were in St. Bart's last week and just like partying at the beach clubs, and it was just like so fun and flowy, and I was like, I need more dancing in my life.
I love that. I love when we were texting, you were like, I'm in St. Bart's with your champagne and we're talking about outfits. But you know, we were joking about this as we came into this today with my snakeskin shoes and your snake necklace. But the year of the snake, you know, snaked hard for a lot of people. And I know I certainly shed like a lot in the last year and in the last couple of years. But what have been the biggest things that you have shed last year, like even last year coming into this year, and that you're still maybe like final shedding as we go into this like year of the fire horse that I think we're all ready for?
I think what's so hard about, I don't know if men go through this in business, but in like female entrepreneurship is I find that there's a lot of shedding of your girlfriends or who you thought were friends, even business friends. And so I feel like at every like new level I've been at, I've had to let people go, and it's so hard. Like the betrayals have been so hard and the gossiping has been so hard. And I feel like the last 2 months it's felt really good again with like female relationships. But for like 5 years it was really hard.
That's so interesting because, you know, I know in just experiencing you in the short time that I've known you that you do seem like what I would say is a girl's girl, right? You can feel it in you. And I think that it would be the assumption from the outside looking in that it's just been really easy for you to fit in everywhere and make friends everywhere. And I would love to know have you always felt like comfortable in the industry? Like I know you just shared about
letting go of certain relationships. And I think there's always that a speech, and I can't remember who said it, but it's always kind of goes around the online space where it was like, certain people are meant to come with you for certain seasons. It's like a rocket, and it's like certain pieces of the rocket come off depending on how high you go. And I think it is true. And it's one of the hardest parts when people say it's lonely at the top, they actually mean exactly what you're talking about. Because I know for me, that has been one of the harder things. Is trailblazing is lonely by nature because you generally are out in front of everyone. That's what being a trailblazer is.
Right.
And then combined with the fact of the human experience, unfortunately, of like not everyone is meant to come with you where you're fully going. But have you found it easy to find your people in this industry?
No, like not at all. But I still try to attend all the events and go to the retreats and find the people that I can. You have to keep putting yourself out there. It's kind of like dating, which is so weird. And then I was like, I'm kind of tired of trying to find the room. So then I like built the room, of the ones that I wanted, where there's literally like no judgment, and the introverts and the extroverts are okay because I'm very introverted.
Yeah, because you said you're an introvert. So tell me about that. How does that show up for you? Because what makes you think what makes you class yourself as an introvert?
Oh, I love just sitting in bed by myself with nobody around, and I recharge alone for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I can get on the stage.
What human design are you?
Projector.
I'm saying, okay, that also makes sense then.
And I can get on the stage and like do the things, but you'll also see me, I walk off, I go to my room, I have to recharge for like 2 hours, and then I can go back out and like network. But you'll see my team like escort me away because they'll be like, all right, she's got to go. Otherwise, I will stay out and like talk to whoever wants to talk and like hang
Sounds
out.
familiar.
Yeah, hang out until like I run myself ragged.
I'm like, who was at Soft Girl Millions Live? Remember that?
Yeah, you need your people to like have your back and tell you to go rest. But it's not easy. I think people think it's easy from social media.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I would have said in not knowing you that you just seem, because you do seem so confident and so sure of yourself in like the best possible way, audacious, secure, that I would have just assumed like, of course, you're just like friends with everyone. And I'll even admit, like even reaching out to you, I was like, I don't know if she's even going to reply to me. And immediately you were like, yeah, like that sounds amazing. Like send me an email. And I think that there was a part of me that was also almost bracing for the inevitable, like she might not reply. She might just be like, no, I'm too busy. And so I was so excited when you said yes. And then to find that we had like so many people in common.
Yeah.
But I think that it is just a common misconception to meet women online who are just so confident and just make all of the assumptions that we're completely comfortable in our own skin. We have our shit together every single day, that we are finding friends really easily. And it's that reminder of, it's not the fact that social media isn't real, because it is, but you're not always, as a business owner, going to be online every day sharing like every tough moment that you're having to navigate or every betrayal that you're experiencing. How do you balance that with your social media in terms of full expression is a big part of Soft Girl Millions, and one of the key anchor points of Soft Girl Millions is about not just feeling expressed in one part of your personality, but feeling expressed in all of your personality. Like, how do you balance that feeling of wanting to be authentic without feeling like you're having to like overshare on the internet?
I just don't go online if I'm feeling very negative, because I don't want my space to be like, oh, it's a low vibration or she's always negative. Like I want it to feel fun and free and like bougie and all of the things, but I also share the real parts of it too and the behind the scenes. And these are the things I'm dealing right now. I did it last week when I was in St. Bart's. Like, oh yeah, you can see me partying at a beach club and drinking really expensive champagne and eating caviar. And also I'm writing a book and I'm moving and I'm doing the biggest launch of my life right now. And like all these other things, like it can be hard and easy at the same time. But I will share, like probably 1 out of 10 times will be like something spicy, I say. Like, and then people will respond like, ooh, spicy Barb, we like her. Where like someone pisses me off and I just have to like talk about it, or the hard parts in business. But I try to keep it fun. And
I think you have to trust your intuition and not do it perfectly. Like sometimes we all know it's best not to show up and like be in a reactive energy, but sometimes to your point, like you do show up and you're like, actually, I had a really crap week coming into this trip. And part of me didn't want to talk about it. And the other part of me was like, this is actually what Soft Girl Millions was about last year, was sharing the things that were up until that point very difficult to talk about. And actually, I think that more women, when we talk about authenticity, or, you know, I think that is such a buzzword that gets thrown around. But I think that sometimes you just have to trust your instinct that I'm not actually going to do this perfectly. And this might seem like I'm being a little bit reactive, and maybe because I am, and that's also okay, because there's a human being behind the brand. But in my experience, it only helps people to feel you more across the screen and not just see this like one-dimensional version of you that always like has everything together, or that it's just so easy breezy, because it looks like at this level everything is like, what would you have to complain about? But the human experience doesn't, in my experience, doesn't go anywhere regardless of how much your bank account increases.
Yeah. And probably what sets us apart is like, we're not afraid to share those things, or you might have been slightly afraid of rejection when you like reached out, as any human would be, but like you did it anyway.
Right.
And that's what will like keep bringing you,
because you're like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is she doesn't reply, or she says no, and the world is going to keep spinning.
Right.
But
Exactly.
luckily you said yes.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Even though you have a really busy schedule. So Soft Girl Millions, like I've told you, and you've heard me talking about it this morning, I think there's a big misconception in the online space around what soft really means as a woman. And in my opinion, and in my experience, Soft Girl Millions to me is actually about you being like you're in your most savage season ever. It's actually about your boundaries being better than ever. It's about you being more intentional with your time, with your energy, with your money. It's about you not being the cost as a result of, and this doesn't mean, not being the cost doesn't mean that you're not in St. Bart's whilst writing a book and launching the biggest launch of your career and doing this and saying yes to Soft Girl Millions, the show, and all of these other things. It doesn't mean that there's not seasons where it feels fuller or a little bit more like stretching in capacity, but it does mean that I'm not doing things for the sake of like saying yes where I actually want to say no, or undercharging where I actually want to increase my prices. And for me, it's really about like teaching other women that you don't have to be the cost. And I think sometimes we think that because we're running a business, we do, because that's just the way that it is. When you think about, for you, where have you removed yourself as the cost along the way in terms of in your business as it's grown? Because I know that as your numbers grow, it's great, but there's also more humans, and you're a projector and you're an introvert, and that you also are someone that wants to pour into people. Like you're very giving by nature. How do you ensure that you don't become the cost, or what have there been specific moments where you have realized that and had to change how you were doing things?
For sure. In like the first year of business, I had no employees. Like I was working 20 hours a day. Like that's not an exaggeration. I was just like, my family is relying on me. I have to do this like hustle for a while. And then as soon as I hired my first employee, I was like addicted. Like, what else can I give away? Like, I don't want to do any of it besides the fun parts, like marketing or social media. And so I think I really am just like so good at leverage and hiring out for everything that I don't want to do. And so in my business, like Soft Girl Millions to me is like being so supported and having so many people around you that it doesn't feel hard or heavy. It can be a lot and you can have full seasons.
But it being a lot and it being heavy are two different experiences.
Yeah, for sure. So like always finding ways to fire yourself, always finding...
Fire yourself, I love that.
Yeah.
How do I fire myself today?
I love it. I love firing myself. Or even like at home, women are so guilty. Like they feel so guilty to say like, I need a housekeeper or I need a nanny. And I'm like, you will not catch me cleaning a toilet. Like that doesn't make me money. And a nanny, we have an au pair, or an au pair like really just allows me to be more present with my kids because they're dealing with all of the crap I don't want to deal with. Like the sports schedule, like I'm still there for the practices, but I don't need this 37 emails from the coach, you know? And so really having the support in your business and at home and not feeling bad about it.
And I think there's an evolution of that. Like I didn't come out the gate. And I think a big part of this season that I went through where my business was the heaviest was learning how to do that at home and in the business. And also releasing the control freak nature that comes with being the founder and the visionary. It's you have to learn how to trust the people that you're delegating to, whether it be in your household or and be okay, like you said, with even receiving support. And there is a direct correlation. My income and wealth has astronomically increased in direct proportion to my ability to receive.
Yes.
like whether it
Support.
be a compliment, whether it be, like you said, being able to ask my husband of like, hey, I need you. Hey, I want to go to Beverly Hills this week and launch this brand new show. Like, I need you to like just take the household and take the kids and do, and him being like, I've got you, go,
Yeah.
without feeling the inevitable guilt, because you can't really fully receive it if you then have the emotional hangover after the ask.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people talk about boundaries or about receiving more, but they don't talk about that period of time where it actually is still really uncomfortable, even when you do put the boundary in place, or even when you hire the employee,
Yeah.
or even when you ask for more support in your marriage or in your home from your au pair or your nanny or your housekeeper. And I think that, to your point originally on like leaning into the discomfort of maybe she will ignore me or say no, you also have to lean into the discomfort of there's a period where you have to get comfortable with that until suddenly you're so comfortable that you can't remember when you weren't comfortable to ask for that level of support.
Well, and a lot of times when you're hiring, for example, you are going to make the wrong choice, or
Yes.
it's just going to be the wrong person and
Yeah.
they interviewed really well.
Yeah.
And a lot of women stop after that first mistake. They're like, they don't trust themselves again. It comes back to the trust. And so they're like, oh, I can just do it better myself. And that's what's holding them back from making more money. So you have to keep making the hires because you'll learn more each and every
Yeah.
time.
It's like you learn more in the crappiest seasons of your business and from your failures than you ever do when things are going well.
Oh, for sure.
So what have you had to do in terms of, have you hit any like income ceilings or revenue ceilings or numbers of like on social media? I think sometimes it even plays out for people around like the number of followers, the number of views on my stories, the number of signups in my masterclass or in my launch, where you've ever felt like, oof, like this feels like I've hit like where I need to like stretch into a bigger level of capacity. Like, do you experience that in your business?
Yeah, it was really hard for me to hit the first $1 million month. Like, I would get so close and I'm like, universe, why is it like 998? Like, but there was just more work to be done.
What was
And
that work?
I think just letting go of the control of like, it's okay if I don't hit it and it's okay if I do. But I was so stuck on this like one number.
Wanting to hit it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That I was choking the universe, I say. And so I just really had to let go. That was the biggest one because I would just get so close and then something would happen. And then one month I was like, wait, if I like add up these other things, like we invest a lot in real estate and a bunch of other things. And I'm like, wait, if I added all of that, not just my business
I've already
income,
done
I was
it.
like, I already did it so many times. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so stupid. I was just like wanting it so bad in business. But now like my goal is $1 million course launch. And so that is happening soon.
So how do you go into this next launch with that intentionality and goal, but without chokeholding the universe?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a data person, right? Because I'm an accountant at
Yeah.
heart. So I took the last 9 launches that we had for courses, and I had ChatGPT like analyze them on like, okay, if based on the data of these 9 launches, what do I need to do in order to hit $1 million course launch? And it just said you need X amount of signups, which will lead to X amount of people showing up live. That's really the key, is people that show up live. And so we really
like reverse engineered it from the data,
yes,
rather than the feelings around it, like the facts.
Yeah. So this upcoming launch next week should at least be 500K. The numbers are way higher. Like actually the data would show $1 million launch, but I was like, wait, that's supposed to be in September. So right now I'm in this, it's like a good week to talk about it because I'm like, wait, the numbers would say I'm doing it, but I told myself I wasn't ready till the September launch. So I'm going to release
Why
control.
would you be more ready in the September launch?
It's silly because I was like, I need a 500K one first.
Oh,
how can I go from 300 to $1 million?
I love that.
But I can.
But you can.
Yeah.
Like we think we have to like stepping stone our way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny how you don't even realize that you have that subconscious like, oh, next would be this. I would hit 500. I went from 300 to $1 million. I didn't do a 500K month. So it's like,
perfect. I'll just
I'm the
you.
evidence for your brain.
Yeah.
But I think it's so interesting. I always joke that for a long time, I started talking about, I'm going to do $1 million a month. And everyone thought I was batshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe you're saying that. What if you don't do it? But I feel like I spoke about it for so long that I had like completely normalized it in my body to the point where I almost felt like I'd done it because I'd completely normalized the conversation around. And that for me is part of my like manifestation, if you will. For me, it's like talking about something until it feels very normal in my body and there's no like constriction or feeling of like, oh, that's not real. It's like you almost have to like normalize it, because I think that we often think, I have a lot of clients that will ask me that. They're like, what does it feel like when this happens? But the irony is, the more money I have made, the less I have any response to money. It's actually, I think we are told with like manifestation, like you should be so celebratory all the time of like this transaction and this thing. Whereas I'm actually like, actually have normalized it to the point where I don't
You've
have
let go.
Correct. Yeah. And there's no like emotional response because I'm not emotional around money. And that's helped me create more. And now it's just so normalized that I can't imagine earning less than, or I can't imagine opening my account and seeing less than. But also taking big risks. Like we've invested a lot of money in real estate and not everything has been a good investment.
Same. Yeah.
And I think sometimes in the coaching industry, the numbers feel big until you start putting millions and millions of dollars on the line in real estate. And, you know, we have put ourselves in situations where there's been big risk and big reward. And some of those big rewards have paid off. And sometimes it has left a gigantic hole. And I feel like that's 12 out of 10 do not recommend, but also everyone has their own risk tolerance. But for me, that has actually helped me normalize, like there's always more where that came from. Like almost you don't know what it feels like to trust yourself until you make a crappy decision and lose the money, or, you know, it doesn't work out with the employee. It's kind of like self-trust, unfortunately, comes from failure.
Well, and you wouldn't have learned the lesson.
Right.
And what to do next time.
Yeah.
Had you not lost the money.
Have you ever made a bad investment?
Oh, so many times. And it's really like trusting the wrong people is what it comes down to. Like it's not the investment.
It's the,
it's
the partners and the advice.
And so, but I think a lot of people invest in other people because they're not trusting themselves again. And so it feels better to like, oh, this person's really good at real estate, so I'm going to invest with them because I've never done it before.
And then they don't ask the questions.
They don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
And in reality, the best investments we've made are the ones that we have done ourselves.
Yeah, same. The common denominator. So as we go into this year, what is your experience of Soft Girl Millions that you want to experience this year? What does this look like for you? Obviously we know the $1 million launch, which we've now pulled forward from September to now. But what are the things that you really want to experience? I know you said more fun, more curiosity, but what else is on the bucket list for this year? And not even just in terms of, I know you're a numbers girl, but like not just even in terms of numbers, like what does the Soft Girl experience look like for a Bougie Barb this year?
Oh, I'm so glad you said Bougie Barb, because Bougie Barb is now going to be Farm Barb.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we're buying a ranch with like 180 acres. And we're going to have...
She's bringing bougie to the farm.
Yeah. We're going to have like milk cows and meat cows and Highland cows and Farm Barb.
I love
just
this.
Really lean into ranch life.
Ranch life, just the contrast.
Yeah.
What is it about that feels appealing to you? Which parts of you are excited about that?
Oh, just waking up and like having coffee in the middle of the field and like you can't hear
nature.
Anything.
Tell me you're a projector without telling me you're a projector.
Oh yeah. Like I can't wait to see no one and hear no one.
I'm like, it's like motherhood and projector combined.
Yeah.
Everybody and the introvert, leave me alone. What are you most excited about for this year? Like what have you got on? Obviously, I know you've got your launches. I know you've got your event. We've got a couple things that you're hosting in person.
Yeah.
One coming up in June, and then I think we both have an event the same week in November, just like back to back. We just realized. So what are you most excited about? Because I think you've hosted that event previously, right?
Yeah, this will be our 4th annual Minted Wealth Live, and it gets bigger and better every year. So I'm always like, I look forward to that event every year. But it's my first international retreat this year. So we're doing it in Greece, which I'm also looking forward to.
Is this the one in June?
No, that's in September.
Okay. Wow.
So a lot of in-person things.
What is it about in person?
The transformation is just so much faster and better in person. And like, you know, we feel each other's energy a lot more than other human designs. And so I just love it in person.
Isn't it funny? Because I feel like, I don't know about you, but in the online space, there's such a common misconception around being a projector and like not live launching, not doing in person because it drains you. But when you have the right things in place to protect your energy, like I find doing things like this so energy giving because I'm in my creative expression with the right people, the right humans around me.
Yeah.
Whereas if you changed who was in the room, it would completely change my experience of it.
Yeah.
So I think like challenging those things that get thrown around for all of us is so important. because it's really about like who is part of it with you, or what is it? Because I love, nothing replaces in person for me. It's my love language. And so I love that as a fellow projector, you feel that too.
Yeah. We just have to like have the right self-care after.
Yes.
And
the right people to bring you out of the room.
Yeah.
So what would you, if you could have one takeaway with the women that are going to watch this, that are on various parts of their journey with money and with wealth, because those two things are very different, what would be the starting point for someone that is like 2026 and this year of the fire horse is the year that I really make sure that like me and money are like in the best relationship ever, and it continues to compound in my favor? There are so many things that go into this topic, but what are your biggest, kind of your 1 to 3 key pieces of advice around where to begin? And a lot of women ask me that, like, where do I even begin with financial literacy, with learning how to invest? But what would you say are the kind of 3 main things that you would tell every single woman of where to start?
Every business owner should be learning how to save money in taxes, because 51% of everything we'll ever make will go to taxes. And it's not just income tax like we pay for our businesses, but it's property tax, it's sales tax on all the bougie things we buy, you know, so it adds up to 51%. And so if you want more money in your bank accounts, the easiest way is just to save money in tax. And then you can use that savings to invest. Like when I'm talking to our clients about investing more, I'm not asking them to take any money out of their bank accounts. It's just, let's give less to the government and put more where the government wants you to put it, and you'll save money in tax at the same time. And so definitely saving money in tax, use that savings for wealth building, not for Chanel bags, although we love those too. And just start learning about the stock market and real estate. Like there are great books out there. I think I started with like all the Tony Robbins books, and he makes it very easy to learn. And so just continuously learning about it, because we can't be ignorant to money if you want to make more.
And ultimately, I think to your point, the investing part feels really sexy. Like the wealth creation feels sexy, but what actually is sexier is learning how to pay less in taxes so that you have an overflow to spend in investing. It's like investing before you've actually got that solid foundation is never going to feel, in my opinion, it doesn't feel safe. And so you're always going to be doing it from a place of lack or scarcity versus actually being like, actually, if I can really understand where I can save money and learning from the best of the best, you're immediately going to feel so much more empowered around now having a surplus to now start making those investments, whether it be real estate or the stock market or whatever your, you know, pick your poison. Like everyone's got different love languages around wealth creation.
Yeah.
But I love this, and I'm so grateful that you said that yes to doing this with us. Where can everyone find you to come and learn about how we stop paying 51% of our of all the money that we make to taxes? Like, where is the best place for the women to start in your world? Like, some people are already going to know and they're going to be obsessed with you already, but there's going to be a lot of women who are just finding you. Where is the best place for them to begin in your world?
Instagram. I love hanging out on Instagram. So Your Tax Coach, and I'm always hosting free masterclasses. So just like hop in and learn. And each one's a different topic. So just keep learning.
What's your upcoming one on?
Writing off your life.
Oh, let's all start writing off our lives.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be able to build wealth, and money in the hands of women will change the world. We are changing the world. Thank you for trailblazing in this space. We need more bougie Bob in this world. And I'm so glad that we have our paths crossed and that we got to do this. Thank you so much.
Me too.
She was born to do it.
Maybe when you wrap.
Here is to helping women get really fucking rich.
Yes.
Yay! Woo! Okay, so here's to you coming on the Soft Girl Million show. We're so grateful to you. Cheers to the year at the Fire Horse and our most successful and experience-filled year ever. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
So we're in bed with Bob. This is like one of your iconic things that you've become known for, that people are obsessed with. Low key and high key on Instagram.
Bed with Barb.
In bed with Bougie Bob. Let's talk write-offs. Let's talk making more money in your business through paying less in taxes. So what are some of the things that you can write off in your business that maybe women are surprised to learn? Like, I know you share a lot of this on your social media, but there's many women who think it's just like the basics, but you are so good at highlighting all the different ways that we can write off money in our business. Well, write off our life, I should say.
Yeah, I love writing off our life. And a lot of the things that we use to make ourselves beautiful online could be written off.
We did not wake up like this.
Yeah. So if you do have a content shoot, a photo shoot, video shoot, you can write off things like your hair, your makeup, spray tans.
You even shared something around you can write off your hair extensions, right?
So there is a famous court case by a woman named Chesty McLove.
Chesty McLove.
She was a stripper, and she wrote off her boob job and went to tax court for it, but she fought it and won because she said that, one, she made more money after getting the boob job, and had it not been for her business, she would not have gotten it.
Right.
So you could extrapolate that to say, had I not had an online business,
would I have wanted or needed to get hair extensions?
And when I retire or sell my business, I would take them out.
But this is a great example of where learning more from the right experts around how to use the tax code in your favor. Like, it might not be that you write off your hair extensions, but the point is there is examples of where you can actually write off way more of your life. Like, I know you have shared things that so many female entrepreneurs don't even realize that they can write off a percentage of their mortgage, especially if they're working from home. Or you had even talked about like candles and I'm trying to think of like I think you even said like this sauna, like infrared sauna, or like some of your self-care things that we're doing too.
Yeah. So something that passed last year was something called a medical expense reimbursement plan, which means you can write off all health and wellness things as long as you have this plan in place in your business. And when you do that, now you can write off not just like going to the doctor, but the sauna, the cold plunge, Ozempic, like any supplement that you might want to take, talk therapy, your gym membership, Pilates. We talked about Pilates. Yes, your Pilates could be a business write-off, but you just have to have this medical expense plan.
Okay, so what are some things that people think they can write off that they actually shouldn't be writing off? Like, I think everyone thinks that they can just like write off any car, or that they can write off, I feel like there's a lot of things that people think, or I know that there's a lot that's changed recently around like meals and expenses around food that people actually, I think, have been so used to writing off meals and food in their business, but that's actually now one of the things that has changed, right, more recently.
A very common thing people try to write off are the loan payments they have. And loan payments are not a write-off. So let's say you like put a bunch of stuff on your business credit card. They write off the card payment, but those are not. Yeah, it's the purchases that you write off, but not any of the payments. So same with like car payments, not allowed. Mortgage payments, not allowed. So any loan payments, but then also, like you were saying with meals, what changed this year is that if you're bringing food into your business, that is no longer deductible. So I don't know if it's just that they want you to go out to eat at restaurants and kind of like
put more money into, okay.
But this is especially affecting like contractors, construction workers, because they're on site and a lot of times they bring food to their workers so that they can just keep working.
Or even in offices, a lot of people do that just to stop, like, so people don't need to leave and it's far more convenient.
Yeah, but as of this year, they got rid of it. I think that they'll bring it back. I really think it was something they missed when they re-upped all the other tax laws this year. I think they just forgot it, but we'll see.
What is one of your most gratifying things that you've ever written off in your business?
Chanel bags.
How does she do it? How do you write off your Chanel bags? You're literally that reel that goes around the internet that's like showing the IRS why my Chanel bag is
I recorded that reel and I did like and I got pen on my Chanel bag because I was using it as a ruler.
She's dedicated to the cause.
Yeah, so I did ruin a bag that way. But if you're using it strictly for business, then you might be able to write it off. So for example, the Chanel bag I brought in here today is my computer bag. It's as big, like it's big enough to hold my laptop.
Like if it's not that, we don't want it.
Yeah. So same with if you wanted a Birkin bag that held your computer, but it would have to like be big enough to hold a computer. Or if it's solely used for business. So maybe it was only used in photo shoots, video shoots, but also like Louis Vuitton luggage. But I only use that luggage when I'm on business travel.
And ultimately, to your point, like they have to prove that is not the case, right? Which is why there is an example of like where you can do it as long as you're actually using it in your business. And we're running online businesses. Like a lot of what we're even doing here is for what I wouldn't be doing if I wasn't doing the show. And so what feels so good to me is investing in my business and my visibility and my authority, and in a way that also fills me up creatively and helps me to be more fully expressed in my brand. And why should you not make more money and write off more of your expenses, like write off more of your life? Where like we all get to win in the process.
Or like look at Mr. Beast. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Like the most famous YouTube guy, right?
Yeah.
His videos sometimes cost millions and
Right.
millions of dollars. Like they're blowing up Ferraris. He can write off that Ferrari because he needed it for a video, and that's how he makes money. So same thing for online business owners.
I love this so much. Now, something that you said on the couch around you are an Enneagram 3. You made a comment to Monica about, I don't do things in my business, or I don't do anything unless I'm exceptional at it. And we were actually talking about the fact that you competed in Olympic weightlifting, which is what we didn't talk about when we were sat on the couch chatting, and came to light at the end of that. And something that you said about that wasn't just the fact that you told us that you obviously Olympic weightlifted competitively, which I think is as cool as shit anyway, but also the fact that the idea of doing the things in your business that you're exceptional at. We spoke about hiring out and delegating the things that aren't going to make you money. But I would love to know, how has that shown up for you as part of your success story? Do you attribute any of your success to the fact that with you even being aware of the fact that you're an Enneagram 3, or like, I don't do things unless I'm really exceptional at it? And what can women learn about that when it comes to their business?
Yeah, I think it's not doing it if you're not really good at it, but also if it doesn't bring you joy and make you happy. Like if you wake up every day and you're like, oh, I have to go do this thing in my business, that's probably the thing you need to go out and delegate and give someone.
Or find a better way of doing it. So like
Yes.
content and social media is a biggie for this.
Yes.
And when you can fall in love with the creative process, like maybe trying to do it somebody else's way is misery to you. But actually, I think sometimes women want to outsource the thing. You started your Instagram and your growth through sharing your weight loss journey. And you've been really successful with your tax coach Instagram because you're really good at creating content. And I think women need to learn not to outsource that part, because actually it's the part that's very difficult to outsource and still be authentic to you and your brand and your tone of voice, and instead find new ways of creating content that are fun for you and feel and are then original, because this is what's cool about you with like In Bed with Bob, is there's an originality to it, which then means that people are more magnetized to wanting to watch you. So this is a really good example of either outsource it or find a different way of doing it so that you can
and it's
actually enjoy
like,
it.
if it's my introvert personality of like, I just want to be in bed and probably alone, although this is okay too.
This is okay. She's like, this is okay. This is okay too.
But finding, like what you said, like find the joy in it. Because for some people, they're like, oh, every Monday record like 4 videos for social. I'm like, no. Once a month, maybe. And I record for 8 hours. I get it all out of the way. And then the whole rest of the month, if I have an idea for something, I just put it in notes. And then at the end of the month, I have a whole list of things I already know I'm going to do.
That's all your new inspiration.
Yeah. And then I only have to do glam one time. I get 4 outfits together and I get a whole month of content. And we do it for 2 Instagram accounts, TikTok, YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love this. Well, this completes our In Bed with Bob. We're so grateful. Thanks for coming on the Soft Girl Million show. That is a wrap.
Woo!
Next time on the Soft Girl Million show.
The best place for us to reunite would be over a soft girl cocktail. Cheers.